Hi, Jason Spears with drpremed.com. I want to tell you a little bit about myself and my journey to medical school. I was one of those pre-med students who knew from a young age I wanted to be a doctor. It kind of started when I was 8 years old. I got a telephone call from my grandpa telling us that my grandmother had been rushed to the hospital and she had a brain aneurysm. And then shortly later, probably about less than a year or so later, my other grandmother would be rushed to the hospital and she had a stroke. And so growing up, I spent a lot of times in hospitals and nursing homes, wasn't at the zoo, parks, or doing all those fun things that you would do with your grandparents. It was in a hospital, and that's how I got started on this journey to medical school. I'll skip all the stuff in high school and everything like that and get to the meat of the story. I came into Northwestern University. It's the only college I applied to. Definitely wanted to go there. Enjoyed every single bit of it. But I got crushed as a pre-med at Northwestern. It was not easy. It was very, very hard. I remember being in general chemistry, preparing for all these exams, pulling the late nights. I would always tell my classmates, I'm gonna pull all nighter. I'm gonna pull it all nighter. And I studied in the group and they'd be like, yeah, right, Spears, you're not gonna do that. And usually around 3 a.m. or so, I'm like, I'm tired. I need sleep, and I call it a night because you have to be able to think on your exams. So that's what I did. And so I was also a poli sci major in undergrad too, so that's a little bit different from everybody who wants to be in medical school and they're in the sciences, engineering, and things like that. But I was political science. I totally love politics. Even to this day, I still follow it tremendously. But on the journey, though, I knew I was also the pre med society president in undergrad as well. I should explain that too. I was general member the first year. I kind of might have been a little bit cocky and arrogant because as a freshman, I told the pre med president that I was going to take her position one day, and lo and behold, sophomore year I became a treasurer of this pre-med society, and then junior and senior year as a president. So that's pretty a little confident to say those type of things, but hey, sometimes you got to do that, and I have no regrets about it. I did a lot of great work, helped a lot of people get where they needed to be in medical school and everything like that. And so came out of Northwestern having decent GPA, was not anything to brag home about. And I did my pre-med coursework. I did that at Harvard summer school. So I took organic chemistry there. I did biology there as well. Then took a cup, and then I took the other sciences at Northwestern or so. And so, senior year, time to graduate, also preparing for the MCAT and all of that entails. Took a Kaplan course, and I was getting very frustrated with this classroom exam course that my MCAT scores weren't moving. They weren't the practice tests and problems. It seemed like I was stuck. I wasn't making progress. All my physician mentors at the time, they were telling me you need to do well in the MCAT. The MCAT can make you or break you. It can open doors for you for getting into medical school. So I had a lot of pressure on myself. I was that person that was in the library 7 days a week. Saturdays I was taking a full length exam. Sundays I was going over that exam question by question. And the rest of the 5 days I was studying up on the MCAT and doing everything that I needed to do. And things were not moving, and I was upset. I was frustrated. I was saying this isn't fair. This isn't right. I'm working hard. I'm putting all this time and effort into it, and this doesn't make any sense. And then I'm a religious person. I always have been a Christian. I went to church the one Sunday and I said, you know what? I'm going to talk to the pastor, see if he can say a prayer for me. So the pastor said a prayer for me for my MCAT and everything like that. It was Reverend Scott. I still remember it to this day. And I'm not going to get all fanatical on you and just say that like the clouds opened up and things changed. But I just walked out of church feeling a lot better and that things were going to be different. And then I also got in touch with another physician as well. And they kind of started directing me on what I needed to do for the MCAT. They actually told me you need to push back your exam a couple couple of weeks and do what I'm telling you to do. I was reluctant to do that, as most pre-meds are. We're like, no, we got to get it done now. I can't push anything back. I just need to get through this. And what happened was, in that time that I took off, my scores started to move. They started to go up. My brother, I have a twin brother actually. He's an attorney. I told him I was struggling on what's now the car section of the MCAT, and he's like, man, let me take a look at those problems. He took a look at those problems, those reading passages. He's like, this is a piece of cake. This is what lawyers do all the day. He's like, here, I'm going to break this down for you. And this is how you go through the car section on the MCAT. And I talk about that and that, like, the lawyer method for the car section. It's amazing. And I'm not going to get too much on a tangent, but don't go read all those wide and broadly as people tell you to prepare for cars. That's not going to get the job done. So, okay, it's time. I'm getting ready. I'm like, okay, time to take the MCAT, walk into the testing facility. Very nervous and anxious as anybody would be, but I felt calm about it. Got in on the MCAT, do questions. I did one of those thank you, Jesus moments when I saw a question I studied for, I knew the answer, saw a couple others of those, and I just felt like, okay, there's something that definitely did not know, but there's enough that I definitely knew or whatever. So I was confident I at least had done fairly well in an exam, but you never know. It's the MCAT. I'm like, I never did like walked out of a Northwestern science exam like, oh yeah, I just blew that one out the water, set the curve. Just did not happen. So I was cautiously optimistic, let's say that. And so went a couple weeks passed. I think it's 30, 35 days before you get your score. And I was a wreck when I got that email that said your MCAT scores had posted. I was sweating. I was nervous. My stomach was doing flip flops. Logged into the computer, took a look at things, and I was on cloud nine. I did better than what I thought I was going to do on that exam. I was in a whole new world, and I said, I'm going to be a doctor one day. I know it. This moment, I called the pastor. I said, thank you for praying for me. Called my mentors and told them what was happening. Got to work on those applications for medical school. And then something crazy happened. I worked I was a president of Premed Society, so I knew adcoms for the top medical schools throughout the country. And they helped me with my personal statement. We got that down. So many drafts on that. It was ridiculous, the process of getting a personal statement down. But through all of that, I did the secondary applications, sending those out, and those are usually automatic, so that really doesn't mean anything unless you get it from a school that doesn't automatically screen for secondary. So then it does. So I was working in my secondaries, and then all of that stuff is submitted. Picked out my schools, obviously, and as time went on, I was getting concerned. I was getting rejections. We're not giving you an interview due to how competitive the class is this year. We're just not offering you a spot. And my saving grace was like, okay, I just got to wait. I just got to hold out. Something's going to change. Something's going to change. Ultimately, no medical school acceptance. And I'm like, oh man, this is horrible. Like, this is like, it's the end of the world. You're just waiting for that last one, and it didn't happen. And then I started, I'm like, okay, it's probably that GPA from Northwestern that got me. Those science classes got me. Let me apply to post-bac programs, grad schools, and all of that, because I was a non-science major. That would get me some more under my belt. So I was applying to programs, and the one program said, Mr. Spear, we have your medical school application here, and it looks like you haven't completed the required coursework to get into medical school. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's been done, that's submitted, it's all on there and everything like that. They're like, no, you might want to send this over to AMCAS and have them take a look at it. So I contacted AMCAS, and they took a look at things. They said, we're going to have to pass this on to superior. We'll get back to you. You know how that is, the supervisor, whatever. And they got back to me a couple of weeks later, and they said, Mr. Spears, it's our regret to inform you that AMCAS processed your application incorrectly. We gave you 0 credit hours for your pre-med coursework. They messed things up. It was my courses I took at Harvard and stuff like that. Northwestern's on a quarter system, Harvard's on a semester system. So the grade or the coursework showed on the application, but their computers didn't read it. So everybody who looked over my application, like, oh yeah, that's great. You have all your stuff in. You're good to go. But schools, medical schools use computers to screen. And so from their perspective, what is this guy doing? A political science major applying to college, to medical school, and he doesn't even have the courses that he needs to get in. And so that was the end of that. I went on to grad school, got my master's of arts medical sciences from Boston University School of Medicine. At that time, so that was like 2 years or so. MCAT scores expired, so I had to retake the MCAT. That was no fun, but I wasn't like up in arms about it because, like, okay, I've been through the process before. Already got a Harvard recruitment letter based on my MCAT score, so this shouldn't be too bad. And went in there, did what I needed to do, and got a decent score. I forget the numbers at this point. It's immaterial, but I was at a competitive score for medical school. Then started to submit my applications to medical school, and I'll tell you something. This was different. When you get that first medical school interview invite, it changes your life in ways that you never dreamed or thought possible. I was so excited because last time I applied, didn't even get that far because apparently I didn't have the requirements to even apply to medical school. And got that interview invite and then got a couple more interview invites. And it was actually interesting. One of the schools, I just happened to contact them, and because the process was going, I haven't heard anything back. And when I contacted them, like, oh, we're missing your letter of recommendation. I'm like, what are you talking about? Those things were submitted. We had one of those, whatever the electronic application service for your LORs submitted, and they're like, no, we don't have it. So thank God I called them and got that squared away, sent it in, and shortly thereafter, they're inviting me to a medical school interview, and now I'm a fourth year medical student. Went to medical school in New York City, about to graduate very, very soon. Some of you are going to listen to this. I'm going to already have graduated medical school, but anything's possible. You just got to stick with it. Nobody's going to have one of those straight paths to medical school. Everybody has a different journey to medical school, but if you want it bad enough, you can get there. I have drpremed.com. It's the website I started after serving as a president of the Premed Society because classmates would ask me for advice and tips because I knew so many adcoms, and I just really enjoy sharing what it takes to get into medical school. So I encourage you to reach out to me. Jason at drpremed.com is my email, or just hop on the website. There's a contact form. Send me a message. I'll be in touch. I'll see what I can do to help you along the way because I'm not the only one that has one of these stories. I speak to my classmates in medical school. I speak to other students who have gotten into medical school, and your situation isn't unique. So don't think it's the end of the world. There's always a way to work it and make things happen if you want it bad enough. And I'm willing to work with you. So just reach out to me. Look forward to hearing from you. And again, Jason from drpremed.com. Thank you.